Hey, welcome to lesson 2 in this beginner's course. In lesson 1 we did a very simple bouncing ball that started from the top and just bounced down. In this one we're going to have the ball move across in lovely arcs. So we're going to do that step by step. I'm going to show you to do this. You go ahead and download this ball. It's the ball version 2. This has got another control added here that allows rotation. Okay, so we're going to add some rotation as it goes along. The cool thing about this is if we was to rotate this one and then try and do squash and stretch, it would be bouncing off in the wrong direction. So what this allows you to do, this controller, is you're able to rotate the ball but still maintain squash and stretch. Basically what I've done is set up a set driven key that basically rotates the texture around as opposed to the ball geometry. So let's get started. What we're going to do first of all is go into our side view. So we're going to go up to panels, orthographic and side. This is going to allow us just to key more easily. So we're going to start off with our main controller, and of course we're going to start with our keyframes. Now we're going to try something slightly different for this one. What I'd like you to do is start thinking in terms of drawings. Okay, so whenever you set a key, that is a drawing that you've decided upon. When you set another key, then the computer will try and fill in all those other drawings in between. So for this one, to get into the habit of it, I would like us to try and use stepped keys for the first part of this. And this will be a very useful technique to use, and it will get you used to more advanced animations later on. Okay, so we're going to start up here with the ball. We're going to set a key on our first frame. Okay, we're going to set our tangent, so right click on the timeline and go to stepped. Let's move along to about 13 and bring the ball down and bring it along. So you see now as we scrub along, it's only displaying our keyframes, just the drawings that we want to see. Okay, so let's go ahead and set another keyframe. So the ball's going to bounce off the ground, it's going to come up. Okay, so again we're just going to set this to stepped and just scrub along, see how it feels. Okay, once you're happy, just move along the timeline and keep setting keyframes. So we want what we want is the ball to start high and gradually get smaller, similar to what we did in our last animation. Okay, so just keep moving along. Okay, so here's the keyframes that I've set. Let's see, very rough at the moment, it's just trying to get an idea, just feeling out the animation. Okay, so once we're happy with this, let's set this to spline. Actually, let's set it to auto. Okay, and just give it a play, and we'll be in a similar situation as what we had with the last bouncing ball. Okay, looks terrible, but we're going to go in and start fixing this stuff up using the graph editor again. Okay, so same process as what we did with the other one. So you see here we've got the ball coming down and gradually getting smaller. I think this bounce here should be a little bit more. So I'm just looking for this gradient going down. Okay, right, so we're going to do a slightly different method this time. Last video we used weighted tangents. This video I'd like us to try a slightly different technique. So what we're going to use is keyframes, or actually in-betweens this would be. So what we're going to do is, if you go up to this button here, click it. If you then select something on your curve and middle mouse button, you're able to add more keys. Okay, so you're able to control this arc using keyframes instead. So we're going to have 2 keys either side of this arc, and I'm going to push up. Now the advantage of doing it this way over weighted tangents is a slight bit more control, because you're able to control the arc a bit nicer on either side. keys on either side of these and just favour the top. Okay. Okay, let's give that a play. Okay, not too bad. Let's, again with this, the ball coming down and then slowing into the land. This isn't good. So we're going to set keys to linear for all the bottom parts here. Okay, and we're also going to break tangents down the bottom, which is this button here. So break the tangents, and this allows you to manually control each side of this curve here. Okay, so now what we're looking for is a nice smooth curve. Okay, so coming all the way down, we want this to be as smooth as possible. So just go through and shape as best you can all of these arcs. Okay, let's give this a play now. Okay, so one major problem with this is in blocking out, I've managed to mess up the forward motion of the ball. Okay, so this direction here. So what we're going to do is we're going to just delete all those middle keys. Okay, they're just not doing anything for us. And we're going to set this one to linear, and we're going to leave this one on flat. Now the reason for this is the ball's going to start fast coming along, and then it's going to slow into this last part. Okay, so I'm just going to bring that up ever so slightly as well. Okay, so if we play this now. So looking at this now, there's one quite major problem, and that's the ball just kind of stops dead at the end, and this just feels really unnatural. Things just don't come to a stop unless they sort of, you know, if there's a wall here, that would kind of make sense, even though it would bounce off. So what we need to do is add a little bit of overshoot. Okay, so the ball's going to come to a gradual roll. Okay, and we're going to also add rotation at the end of this. So what we're going to do is set another key at the end here. Okay, and we're just going to extend this animation like so. So you see towards the end it's just going to come to a gradual stop. The more you stretch this out, the slower it will be. So let's just move that along. Okay, and you see here we get a nice slow stop. Okay, so what we're going to do now is add some rotation in. So we're going to select our rotation control. I'm going to bring up our rotate tool here. Okay, and we're going to put some rotation on. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way to the end of this and just guess how many rotations I think is going to be needed. So I would imagine it's somewhere in the region of that. So it's just a case of trial and error. Okay, so that's almost spot on. How about that? Okay, let's have a look at the graph editor and just make sure that's doing what we want. Okay, so it starts off kind of flat, so I'm just going to bring that down slightly. Okay, and this is good. This is perfect. We want it to flatten out at the end as it comes to a stop here. Okay, let's give that a play. Okay, not too bad. If we wanted, we could always do a slight roll back in this direction and then rotate it, but you know, it's up to you. So I'd like to speak now about arcs in animation. So if we play this, you'll see there's a natural arc that happens in every single bounce. We're able to better visualize this if we go up to visualize, create editable motion trail. So you'll see here as we scrub along, this is following the main controller and just drawing a line between the keyframes here. So you see these natural arcs happening. This is important to learn, especially early on, because arcs happen in nature all the time and we're used to seeing it. So nothing ever moves in a straight line. You know, everything's got a natural arc to it. So it's important to build this into our animations as well, to keep them feeling alive and natural. So we're going to go in and add squash and stretch to this. Now, the first thing I want you to do is to delete everything you did on this rotate, okay, because we're going to deal with rotation using the main controller, and then we're going to put the rotation back in afterwards. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So we're going to follow this line of action all the way down, like so. So we're going to grab the main controller and we're going to rotate to follow this line of action. And the reason we do that is because when we start to stretch, we want to make sure this ball is in line. See, so it's going to follow down. Okay, and as it hits the floor, rotate it back so it's flat again. So you get that kind of thing going on. Okay, just going to add a stretch here. Okay, and remember, once you hit the apex, the ball returns to normal. And I'm going to rotate it back to normal as well. So for the time being, it's going to look like a jumping ball because it's sort of self-correcting itself. After we're going to put the rotation back on the texture, it will make sense. Okay, so as the ball comes down, we're going to rotate, follow the line of action again. As it hits the floor, straighten back up, and then follow it off in this direction. Okay, and then we add squash and stretch. Okay, so now we've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to start going in and correcting these rotations. Okay, so we're going to grab our rotation controller, and this is just a case of going through and eyeballing it. Okay, so for each section you want to make sure that it feels like the correct amount of rotation coming through. Okay, and all the way to the end, set a key at the end and just rotate a bit. So here's the final result of putting the squash and stretch in. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you want a further challenge, then try animating a heavy ball, you know, like a cannonball, and you could also try animating a super light ball, you know, almost like a balloon. In the next lesson, we'll be looking at secondary action and follow through, so we're going to be animating pendulums, a bit of grass, and a tail. And don't forget to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.